Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley. I am joined tonight by the Director of Propaganda, Joe Helmbrecht.
Evening, everybody.
So, Joe, I know that we're going to get into this in a little bit because we did something fun with guns this week.
We did something with guns.
I would argue it was fun.
It was a good time.
So, say that one more time.
I said it was a good time.
Yeah, it was.
Well, half of it was.
You might not be ultra happy, but you had a good time.
I did.
No. So, did you do anything else fun with guns since we got back other than completely review any setups you may have had and start to doubt what you're going to do?
Not in that realm. I did order, actually find a decent deal on a comp M4 to finish out my M4 clone. That should be here on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to getting that and the backup buoy that I got on it zeroed this weekend. No, other than that, it's just been the group chat critiquing and everything from the weekend.
Yep. So, well, I'm sure Garth said he was going to try and get here tonight. He had some firefighter business that he had to take care of tonight yet. So when he joins in, I'm sure he'll just jump into the middle of the fray like he normally does, and everything will be good to go. But what we're alluding to along with our title tonight is so the three of us, and as Garth put it on his Facebook post, the AR-15 Make-A-Wish fan came with as well. And we went down to Grand Island and shot a major. That would be what you call it?
A major match. Yeah, that if USPSA can consider their sectionals majors, I would say, yeah, that's a major match on the realm of a national level match. If they were going to do a 3-gun circuit, that's one of them. I think that would be included.
Yep. So we went down and shot Zombies in the Heartland. And Zombies in the Heartland is a fun match. This was the 12th year they've had it, and was what they were telling us while we were down there. So 12 years of it, and in 12 years of running through it, they've had, a bunch of different things going on. But I know this was my second year shooting it, and Joe's first. But it
won't be the last. Won't be our last. Guarantee that.
No, definitely won't be the last. I know that Garth and I were talking before we went down, and last year when we shot it, he shot PCC and I shot it as 3-gun, and last year we came in at 174th and 186th, respectively. And this year we did a little bit better, but part of that also was Garth wasn't handicapped by a shotgun.
Yeah, shooting at PCC, I think, might have had something to do with our abilities to place in the top 100.
Yeah. So when we shot it this year, we're going to get in and talk about a lot of the things that we got into with that particular match as we go through. But we shot that. It was a ton of fun. It's Hornaday's flagship match, and honestly, one of my favorite matches I've ever shot. There were a ton of really fun stages, nothing really far for distance wise, unless you're talking about 200-yard shots with the 9mm. in PCC, which got kind of interesting. But
I think even on the 3-gun side, you talk to most of the, say, the amateur shooters, shooting amateur class, or anybody that's not big into competition, that 50-yard target was probably a lot farther than a lot of guys thought they'd have to shoot their pistol.
yeah. And I do know that last year I'd kind of prepped up for some of those things. Dirt Racer is already giving us the warning of fair warning. I've been drinking tonight. So that means the comment section should get extra spicy, and we're here for that. But so a little bit of review. Last year we went and shot it. All my equipment went well last year. I had a couple things I was going to change. I shot it with a red dot and a magnifier and never used the magnifier. So that influenced a little bit of my decisions on what I was going to take this year. I also tweaked my shoulder a little bit, so I couldn't get proper grip with one hand. So I decided to shoot PCC as well. So all three of us took AR-9s down and shot it, which probably is the truest form of an AR match as you could get. Is we shot it with AR-9s and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a 10-stage match, and as we went through, I would say we performed rather well.
Yeah, I can't say that my shooting outside of stage 10 was the problem. I, doing quick math, can only come up with 3 targets. If you don't count 10, if you don't count the 100-meter target through the barricade, we'll discuss some of these stages later. But yeah, I think I had 3 targets that I shot at that I didn't have a hit on, and that's with the zombie targets. You have to shoot them in the head, 1 in the head, and I only had 2 of them where I shot and was low. And other than that, in stage 10, I was clean on with my shooting.
Yeah. So as we get into this, so this match was, again, I said, a 10-stage match. We did really well. And here we go. We can say S. Jackson here on Rumble says, I can say having never actually I'll put it up on screen, but having never shot at a competition before, it was a big change. Saw the Iowa Governor's 10, and I thought I was, and what I thought was my best, and got dog walked. And yeah, it is definitely a different animal to shoot in that scenario.
Following up on his, I got 3 new kids, 3 of my new shooters to or 3 of my new soldiers to shoot our South Dakota Governor's match. And one of them checked in with me because I was shooting it the day after them, asking about, how his score, let me know what his score was and where it was. And he thought he had shot pretty well and was happy with his scores. But yeah, if you're not used to it and you don't do it and get a chance to see what's going on, it can be a humbling experience.
Yeah, it was, and this match was like, we walked into this with kind of eyes wide open, and knew that we were going to be competing against the best. I mean, for God's sakes, Jerry Michalik shoots this one, and it's kind of weird to be shooting in the same orbit as him. Like, we didn't shoot on the same squad, but we're ancillarily kind of involved. Before we start breaking down stages, I will say that we were engaging targets from essentially contact distance to 200 yards with ours on PCC. So 200 yards with the 9mm is a poke for anyone who didn't know. And when we go through, we can describe our gear, which ostensibly we shot the same guns. There were some parts that were different. I know Joe was shooting his, I don't know what you're going to call.
The LS swapped Diamondback. I'm calling it the LS swap. It was like swapping an engine. We took all the cheap guts out of that one and ran all JP parts. And I do not have a complaint. I have had 2 issues with it since we did that, and that was when you and I were out on Memorial Day for a little test and tune before we took off. And I don't know what was going on, ammo, mags, whatever, but we cleaned it and it ran flawlessly for me all weekend. I didn't even get any trigger freeze, which I've had a couple of slight instances of that in the other matches I've shot this year. So
yeah, and I shot. I just shot my PCC, which is it's a nothing special PCC. I say that is I built it. It's an Aero EPC with a bunch of Aero parts, and I know that it's ran exceedingly well for me, and I know Joe shot it before. It does seem to recoil a lot less than some of the other guns, but I thoroughly enjoyed running that one.
But shooting that back to back with mine with that JP stuff, mine runs a little bit smoother, but so much quieter just in that cycling with that. That's because you've got the regular AR bolt style or buffer system in there that you get that twang when that spring goes off.
Yes, I do. And running that, that is just one of those things where I had mine topped with a Swamp Fox blade, just because that's the optic I've been running here for competition for quite a while. Just since I built that gun, I put a blade on it. Went, yep, good to go. I know I'd said it before, and Garth and I had this discussion. I do not care for the green dot, because mine is a green, lit for the reticle.
I played with at your place that one night. We were looking at them. I don't see a benefit to it. At least with my eyes, I pick them up both the same. But where most of the shooting is done around here with green grass backgrounds, I feel like you'd lose that sight, but especially on green zombies that they gave us.
Yeah, I had 1 or 2 times where I had problems. I actually turned it down, so I just had the black reticle and was running that, so that as I turned, I would have the black instead of the green, because we were shooting at green targets. Now, Garth, ever the contrarian, said that he loved his green reticle because his eye picks it up better. Oh, man. I had not heard about this. A blast at their ammo facility?
I haven't seen anything.
Now we're going to both furiously Google as this pops up. But we will keep talking and talk about the...
This is where you throw up the rainbow striped technical difficulties while we look it up. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, my eyes either way don't affect on the.
So I'm over the years
the one thing that
a lot. Go ahead.
I would say the only thing I'm contemplating right now on my optic is, as dumb as it sounds, going away from my prism, because I can't get the eye relief right to shoot with both eyes open. Whereas I know with any dot that I've ever played with on a rifle, both eyes, I can shoot both eyes open. And I have a feeling, and I've got to test it, that I can get quicker target acquisition with both eyes open. I can lead and come on to target faster and get that first shot on target off, rather than trying to do it with one eye. Right now, I'm just waiting to go to GunCon and hopefully get to try out the Mediator XL from Gideon and see if my theory holds true. And if it does, that'll probably end up on my rifle in place of that Swamp Fox Prism, but it's weird. I don't get, and I honestly think for action shooting, the flower dot isn't. What are they? Those are feet, dude.
No, that's an ad. I don't know what it is, but it is a. They did have an explosion today. They had an explosion and then caught on fire at their Jacksonville ammunition plant.
No one's shooting SIG ammo, anyways, are they?
So, I mean, I wasn't.
Interesting.
So I know that in the comments here, there's people saying that they pick up green better than red, and Vince says Garth must be at the part-time podcasters convention with Mike, which could be. He doesn't work at the Chicken Shack though, so but I pick up green better than red is what like Dirt Racer was saying. So I've read a lot of different things about optics over the years, and one of the, I'm not going to call it gimmick, maybe it is. For a while, there were a couple companies that were doing like blue dots or blue reticles that lit up, and they said it was because red is a threat color. So you see it, but it makes your eye do like weird things, and blue will cause it to react or like relax. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. But when you were talking about getting the eye relief right, one of the downfalls with prisms or a lot of things is they have a real hard time getting to proper 1x. Like when I look through my blade, everything's actually slightly smaller. It's like 0.8x. So it's, making things, it's like a demagnifier almost, where it looks a little bit smaller than what it actually is. And I know that I, was running through it. I didn't have quite the issue running the blade. You guys were running were you running a Gideon or the Swamp Fox?
It's Swamp Fox.
The Raider. And Garth was running a Gideon Advocate. I believe our friend Cotton was as well. They were both running the Gideons, so all four of us were running prisms. And we should probably talk about where we placed, because we did place pretty well out of the field we had. I know that Joe's like, I don't want to talk about placing. But that's because some penalties were issued because somebody made a mistake that wasn't us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that we can say that, I guess. That's because they did admit to that, but no. Well, we could just start with what we shot, starting with day one, and then talk about the other small details afterwards.
Yeah. So what we went through, you shoot. This was a 3-day match, so you shot 4 stages a day, and then shot 2 stages on the Sunday last morning. Day, and then we did awards afterwards. And we'll have AR Drew running late tonight, but I'll have to listen when it drops. But don't worry, we'll still be here for you.
So, yeah, we choose to shoot Friday morning, Saturday afternoon, and then the early flight on Sunday. So that way we can have a good time Friday night and sleep in Saturday morning. So we had the 4 of us and 2 other PCC guns in our squad of 10 or 12. And the rest were 12.
There were 12 of us. And
the rest were amateur 3-gun shooters. So, and luckily, it's kind of nice because Nick shot. There was a guy between Nick and I, because we shoot it all alphabetically. I shot, Garth shot, and there was a guy between Garth and Cotton. So within 6 shooters, all 4 of us shot. So we could bounce stuff off each other. We could see how we ran. If you've ever shot like a major match, You shoot it alphabetically, and whoever shot first on the first stage will drop down to the bottom, and everybody you kind of bounce up. So there was times where Nick was the last shooter in our squad, or in our squad of 4, if you consider the guys that rode down there with us. So you get to see, you can kind of see like, and we're all, and if you want to, so what do I say? If you want to know what our competition level is or what our capabilities are, there was a stage where I believe Cotton got like 11th, and then Nick and I, it went Nick, myself, and Garth like 16, 17, 18th. Like that's how close we are in skill and ability. Like we're right there on a lot of stages. We weren't separate unless one of us had major meltdowns, which occasionally we did. We were very, very close in scores.
Yeah, it's every now and then one of us would have a meltdown. There was one stage where I apparently was like touched by an angel and everyone else wasn't. But
like I said, even with my faults, I would rather have that stage back than my fault stages.
Yeah. But so we went through, we did place, so there was 286 competitors total that shot in the match to be counted in. I came in 60th. Garth came in 63rd. And I'm trying to remember where Cotton came in. Joe came in a little bit lower because of some penalties that he accrued.
I was 82nd or 88th, and Cotton was 3 or 4 spots ahead of me.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were right there. I can look it up too.
But we all finished in the top third, so that's really kind of
like you guys said, coming off of last year, your goals were just to break that top 100, and we did that. We did that.
Now, as we keep going through, some of the stages were very interesting. We started on stage 5. So if you look through, you'll be able to see all these stages on like YouTube or anything like that. If you Google Zombie in the Heartland 2025, you can see a rundown of pretty much every stage. No, Zombies even actually, the official Facebook page showed one of Cotton's runs as he went through it. But stage 5 starts with, it has the beloved teeter-totter in the middle of it. So you had to get on the teeter-totter, engage.
Yeah, you started off the teeter-totter, and when it beeped, you had to step on, engage 2 targets 4. Off to the right. I think it was 2.
Yep, but you engaged a couple targets, then you went to the middle of the teeter-totter, and people would either try and balance it out or slam it all the way down to one side, engage some targets at distance, and then a couple more up close. Then we moved on.
Raised platform that had 4 steel. Across the platform, there was
4 more
3 steel. The
inline plate rack.
The nesting, I don't know what you want to call it, inline plate rack, and then 6 zombies steels with
clays in the head.
Clays in the head that you had to break the clay.
Yeah, and the nesting plate rack or the inline plate rack might be one of my favorite targets of all time. So they have it's zombies, so everything's zombie themed, but they have like a 4-foot steel target with a hole cut out of the center. That's probably a 6-inch hole.
Do we just want to show the run?
That would work. Well, Joe's pulling this up to show what it is. It's a 6-inch hole that you then fire through, and you have to shoot through the hole and engage a whole bunch of poppers that are there to knock down. And there are 6 poppers in a line, so it's 6 shots through the hole in order to make everything work. And I do truly love that target. Like, that is one of my favorite plate racks of all time to shoot. It's probably more like 3-inch. Vince says. But no, it is a fun time, and running that is a.
Well,
Oh, I hear something running, but no.
I thought I had these in the correct order.
Oh,
apparently,
as Joe waits for technical difficulty, we'll keep pushing.
We started on 5. Where is it?
So, when we went through this again, we shot everything with PCC, so we were not doing the transitions between the three, or going from gun to gun to gun, and just shot it all as essentially a carbine match. And it was definitely reflected in our times how much faster you go when you don't have to drop guns. But then there were also stages where guys who were running 3-gun smoked the ever-living dog crap out of us. And it wasn't even funny. Now, luckily this year, when we were going through, we lucked out especially good because of the weather, and actually had like a couple times where we got like 3 or 4 raindrops on us, but overall it was sunny or overcast. So perfect shooting conditions. There was one day it was kind of windy, but that wasn't bad, because we were all able to keep a good solid grip on our guns by using VZ grips. The unique features of VZ AR grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10. And G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and a wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as shorty and color versions available. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm saws, slim notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. There's one coupon code that is good for 15% off all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
All right, found it.
All right, so here we go. You can go through. This is stage 5, so I will let Joe narrate his run.
All right, so that's the first shot, and then get the balance, you get your 4 targets. Come down, you got 1 target here. Come around the corner. I took way too long getting on that head, and then up. Again, way too long to get on targets.
As yes,
it was slippery wet in the morning too. Like we were the first ones on there. Yeah, there's the plate rack. And then I missed one. Got to come back. So yeah, that's the run there. Like I said, Nick was one of the first shooters on there that
was slippery.
Yeah, that teeter-totter was slick. So you're a little more hesitant to get moving as opposed to those that ran it in the afternoon. I've seen some runs. Cody, his run where he's actually taken those, taking the steel, the clays in the steel as he's moving up. I'm like, oh wow, that's So yeah, that was the rack Nick's talking about that he really likes. It is a lot of fun because you got to be fast and accurate on it, but you still kind of got to hold up to wait for that first target, that front target to fall. So
yeah, and we had that. Then we moved on to stage 6. Now, was stage 6 the window stage?
No, that was 7. You're talking no. So 6 was this one. Okay, yeah, this is 6. Hold on here.
All right, so as we pull this up, I'm going to do my best color commentary for audio listeners because this makes great audio podcasting as we watch a video and go, okay, yeah, here's the thing. So again, these silhouettes that we shoot at, all of the papers are ostensibly a head and shoulders target, and you have to shoot. There's a bifurcated line, or I guess bifurcated wouldn't be the thing. There's a detentured line that goes through in the neck area. So all of your hits have to be above the line to count as headshots because, well, zombies. And so, then there are also places where they put clay pigeons in them, and you have to engage the clays.
Is it not sharing?
Now, last year when I shot this, I will note that shooting with a 5.56 into these clays can be difficult at times because that 3,000 grain pit or 3,000 feet per second, 55 grain pill punches right through those clays and does not leave a very large hole or completely disintegrate them. However, 124 grain 9mm will leave a giant chunky hole that you can see very well.
Yeah, if it doesn't just knock them out. All right, so here's 6. We started unloaded through there's a target to the left, 2 right in front, 1 to the right. Take this one to the right, and that longer one there. Move. We got targets, and we're gonna move here to up for some steel.
Yes, and as you watch this, he's engaging steel between I would call them power line spools. If you've ever been to a redneck bar, they call them tables.
And then on the platform, can't be touching the ground. You got to put 1 in each head, which.
Yep. And the platform is 2 pallets.
Yeah. So yeah, that was stage 6. That one, that one went pretty well. I wish I'd have got to shoot these later, because I think I could have done a lot better on them as the weekend went on. All of our shooting got better. So that was
I will agree with that. Then we moved on to the a stage which was an interesting stage that I actually like the concept of.
The stage itself was very fun.
It was a challenging stage because it had a wall with a window, and you pretty much had to take an offhand shot through it.
Yep.
And so it was one of those like, hey, in order to look over here, in order to lean far enough, you either had to be left-handed or lean through the window far enough to take this offhanded shot. You were engaging. There are 8 targets over here outside of this window that you have to engage with headshots. So as you go through, it's positioned in such a way that you really have to crank out and lean, because the only option is to hit the targets with that extreme lean. And they had a fault line there where you couldn't sit on the windowsill. You had to keep 1 foot in the shooting box. And that's where Joe kind of got screwed, because they misjudged some stuff.
The shooting box had a 2x4 next to it that was considered out. And according to the RO, my foot was on the 2x4. But other than that, I think I had 1 mic on this one, 1 failure to neutralize, and beyond that, it went really well. Like the RO running the clock, even the one running the score, made the comment to me, a nice run, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, because again, not something I violated the rules of the stage, yes, but it didn't benefit me in any way. So I take that one with, that's on me. And again, that's why I've said if I could have 1 stage back, it's not even this one. It's later on, which we won't show that one because it takes too long. But yeah, that was a fun stage. That was the first stage where I really got moving, where I really felt that I got to in my rhythm.
Yeah.
And
the stage after that would be the one where I got into my rhythm.
Yep. So stage 8.
I also
very interesting.
I lucked out.
So stage 8, they had 3 shooting boxes, 9 targets from each box, and you had to draw a card to see which box you shot in. Regardless of how you did it, you would have to traverse from either the far right to the far left or the far left to the far right at least one time. So you made the same movements. It was just what order they were in. It's not like you could have you didn't have a bad draw. You just had to remember where your boxes were.
Yeah.
Nick got lucky. Very lucky. You want to explain why?
Yeah. So I went through and ran it, and I did not have a bad time when I ran it. I think I was the very first shooter on the stage.
Yep.
and went through it. It was like, okay, yep, we're gonna run. And I did not. I ran it with what I thought at the time was a fairly respectable time, but
So you can't see it here. You start, depending on where you start. If you started on the far right or ended on the far right, there's a double star. There's 5 little heads and 5 bigger zombie heads. And there's 3 shooting boxes, and you have to be within those shooting boxes. You can have both your feet in one box or 1 foot in both boxes. Is it not showing up? I thought I had it shared.
yeah, so
there we go. So yeah, there's the steel. So I started on the blue. Actually, I finished next. So he shot a good run. And if you would have taken what the timer said, it would have been the best run of anybody in the ever history.
Yeah, because I would have shot the whole thing in under 8 seconds because it picked up like 2 shots.
And did you have a mic on that? I can't remember if you did or not.
No, I didn't have a mic.
They're both clean. So then, yeah. So then he gets to rerun it and ran a hell of a stage. So here's the.
So yeah, as you
jump up into the shooting boxes, load up.
And so this is an interesting star because it's you have 2 different size Texas stars in the same axis. And as you run through, so you have 10 shots on it, and it's 5 large, 5 small. And we're going to call them 4-inch and 6-inch targets. Yeah, then each of the other shooting boxes has, I think it is like 8 to 10 targets in them. So you're doing almost 30 rounds for this stage. Yeah. And it was a ton of fun to run through. It was a very quick one. After I was blessed with a shot timer that didn't pick up my shots, I came back and ran it hard.
You had a reload at the end of the first run too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that one steel that hung up and you had to reload. So again, like I said, there was three boxes that you have your feet in. I did the exact same stupid thing on this stage as I did the stage before that. When I moved all the way to the left, my foot was on the box and I didn't realize it until I pushed off. And yeah, and this was one of the stages where I had a failure to neutralize, where I had a low hit on one of these targets. So yeah, if you look at about right in here is where that perforated line is, and they had to be single headshots. So if you dropped one, and with this one, you were just taking your shot. You weren't paying attention to make up shots or anything like that because you were looking just to move time. Yeah, definitely a speed run, and you can see. I haven't looked at any of the guys that like Smoke does. Like I felt good about this run, but some of the other times they're just you can hear the cadence, and that's what tells you when you're shooting good or not.
Yeah, no, it was definitely. As I go through here, I'm gonna start pulling up some stages and see where we were at, and just in looking at a lot of these things, it's the stages got very fast and they were a ton of fun.
Yeah.
So
I wish I'd have shot something before I shot day one. If we could have shot 9 and 10 first.
Yeah. Like 9 and 10 were the
9.
Stage.
Yeah, 9. We started on 9 for day 2. And that again started with a
Texas Star.
Yeah,
which Texas Star, for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, is a center axis target that has 5 spinning, or that will spin, and it has 5 steel plates you have to knock off. And you had to kind of hit them in the right spot in order to knock these off. They were not
on
easy.
This one. Yeah. The first one, because they had hole, like it's an actual skull. So if you put one through an eye hole or like the mouth, it'd catch a little bit and it wouldn't come all the way off, which was frustrating for people.
Yeah.
Um,
And if you were shooting 3-gun, it was a all shotgun course.
Yep, for this stage 9. So like I said, we start here on the steel or on the
on the Texas Star.
We move over and you've got a 200-meter target that you have to shoot from 3 different spots, which I don't hit at all.
Yep. And it's 3 different spots. It's on a big H. It's a Hornady H.
So here
then
you have
move
a spinner.
to a center one that has a spinner that you have to engage, and then an additional 200-meter target.
And I have not watched any of my videos yet, so I'm really curious to see this one.
Then there's an additional 2 steel with 1, or I guess 3 steel technically because it's a knockoff, and then another 3-position hit.
Probably my first real big shooting mistake was this guy right here. I don't know why I left him. I feel like I shot and missed. I may have just completely skipped it. I was looking to see, like I said, this is the first time I've watched these videos. I wanted to see if I rattled him like Garth and Cotton did on 7 or on 4, where they hit the target, it didn't go down, and they moved on. But yeah, so that was a 15-second penalty for not shooting at that guy. Otherwise, that would have been a pretty good run. A lot of people on this one, because you were shooting through these tubes. There's a single target at 200 yards.
And the tubes he's talking about are like a 36-inch culvert.
Yeah, so you had to shoot through it. Most people were just sending their round and moving on and taking the 7, so like 30 seconds in penalties, because it was faster than trying to line up hits. Garth, you get one. Did you get one, Dooley?
Yes, I did.
You had one. I think Garth had 1 or 2. Cotton had 1 or 2 or 3. So a lot of people basically in the match took these long shots more like as a bonus. Like one of the best runs on the stage was like a 19-second run, but they had 40 seconds in penalties. So
yeah,
but the guys who shot it clean. The guys that shot it,
I wound up with 30 seconds of penalties.
Yeah. So, and the guys that actually shot it and made their hits shot it in a minute. So it actually came out pretty even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun stage.
Yeah, that was the one where we came in at 18, 19, and 20.
Yeah, that's the one where we were all right together.
Now, the stage everyone hated, but I loved.
And then, yeah, this is, like I said, the one stage, if I could go back and reshoot it, would be stage 10.
Was stage 10. And the only reason why I say I loved it was it happened to play well into my wheelhouse. I'm not going to say it played well into my wheelhouse.
You had a 7th place finish on the stage for PCC. So,
yeah.
So this has got a VTAC wall.
And they'd marked off.
Come here. We're not going to show this because it's going to be 2 minutes of me missing targets. So you've got the VTAC wall. You have to shoot through the painted or the taped ports
areas, and on the side there's 8 positions you have to shoot from.
Why does it? I swear it starts showing and then it stops.
And but yeah, so you have 8 positions you have to shoot from, and in shooting through these 8 positions, 1 is on the long side of the wall. Then there's 3 steps, and then there are 4 holes in the middle you have to shoot through.
And then you've got a 100-meter target and a 50.
Then after you do that, was this a forced reload?
No, not for us. We just had to switch to.
We had to switch to a different position.
We had to switch. You couldn't shoot both. You couldn't shoot the 100 and the 50 back to back from the same spot. You had to move.
Yes.
And then go back.
I was thinking it was a forced reload because I was thinking this one was the forced reload.
Nope.
Only because I saw the mag holder, and the mag holder from Klecker Tactical. If you're in need of reliable custom Kydex holster, Klecker Tactical is your one-stop shop. Using premium USA source material, Klecker Tactical will build you a holster in a variety of styles and colors, along with light and laser options available. Whether you're a law enforcement, a competitive shooter, or an everyday gun enthusiast, trust that Klecker Tactical will provide every firearm owner has access to top-tier and personalized holsters, as well as quality custom products you can't find anywhere else. And use
So
the
yeah,
code AR-15 podcast for 10% off at cluckertactical.com.
yep. This one, like I said, Nick ran this one almost flawlessly. Garth did pretty good. I time out, Cotton timed out. This is where, and I meant to do it Monday before we left, was I wanted to get my holds at 100. And yeah, it went bad.
Yeah, Garth also, or well,
Cotton did bad. I found out after I started shooting that I should have just been holding dead on. So yeah, it gets a little hairy when we get into the different positions, especially the canted ones. And like I said, then we move up. My last shot actually goes off like 0.03 seconds late, but yeah, that's the one stage I would take back.
Dirt Racer, I bet Klecker will make a holster for an MP5 if you ask him.
So yeah, that one separated us a lot, and we watched some really good shooters go to war through these ports.
So Desert Cerakote on YouTube asked, "What in sweet baby Jesus is that mag?" Because he's
that's
looking at Joe's Ulta mag.
That's a 33 round. Come back here. Yeah, that's a 33 round Glock mag with 30 round is it MTB Goliath extension. It's awesome. I got a lot of looks, but as you'll find out, as we would see later, when people are reloading to shoot one time
in the business, they call that foreshadowing.
It was worth having, and especially on this stage where I knew I might need it. I think I had 4 or 5 rounds left. Like I said, I want this stage back so bad.
Yes, and that was a fun stage. Then we moved on. After we shot 10, we went to 1. And in 1, I did not have a good stage on stage 1. But that was a me thing. And but again, we went through and we were all fairly close together in what we did there.
So here, 2 close ones.
Then there was a 50-yard target.
So quick. All white targets get 1 in the head. The blue targets get 2 in the head. The red targets get 3 in the head.
Yeah, and my issue here was I went up and was concentrating on some of the others and had a failure to neutralize or failure to engage on a target because it wasn't failure to engage. I shot when we got into the middle.
Right there, I ran right by that guy right there.
Yep. So Joe ran right past a target, and what I did was the opposite. And I shot too many times into targets, which had an almost equally as bad penalty.
Yeah, this was they kind of count, if you're used to USPSA, it was kind of a Virginia count thing where if you had 3 hits in a blue target, or if you had more hits in a target than were supposed to be there, you would take a penalty. It kept people from just a lot of people will send 2 at everything just to make sure they get that hit. Well, here you could do that, but if you got 2 solid hits, it was a penalty. Like I said, if you
because white targets were 1 shot, blue targets were 2 shots, red targets were 3 shots.
I come up here, everything. I mean, I had a great run going, but there should have been a hard left lean here to take this here target, and I did not do that. I run right by it, and that was a 15. I think that was ends up being like a 30-second because I was failure to even engage.
Yeah. And
so that was one of my little slips on the weekend. But yeah, that was a fun stage. It was a good quick stage, but you had to be thinking because you had to know. Yeah, I mean, you had to identify the color and then make your muscles do what your mind was telling it, as opposed to all weekend we'd been shooting 1.
And then you had to think and brain, and my brain did not want to brain.
Yeah, we had. No, this isn't the one where Yeah. So what was that? Was 1. So then then we went on to 2.
Yep. As we went on to 2, that's
2.
2 was a fun stage for
So you
us.
got
There was one target we really, technically 2 targets we had to take from the start position, and it was a clay at about 10 yards.
Yep.
Then, just for ease, I think we all took a shot that was about 15 yards across the
so we
bay
picked that one
and shot at one, and then we moved into a large shooting area.
You can take this target from here.
What he's pointing at for the audio listeners is when we moved from one shooting area to another, you could do another shot, but it was really close to breaking the 180 as you went through.
Yeah. So then you can come up. If you cut this right, you could have actually taken all of them from about the same spot.
Then there were targets hidden in tractor tires and around stacks, and we had to shoot through minivans and things of that nature. And after you went through shooting all these, we ended up in a tractor tire that you didn't have to stand in, but you could. A lot of people actually went down, like I saw in videos, they were using bipods, which is a foreign concept to me in this. But there was a steel array of, 10 steel targets there?
Yeah. So you can see that guy right there. I couldn't see him with the tire in my way. But I do the smartest thing I do all weekend, which is sweep and then take him.
Otherwise, and then there was 5 hanging clay pigeons and tires.
Yeah.
Now, that was a super fun stage, and I have a recording of me shooting this that Joe shot, and I think he has on the recording. I went through and had to come back and double tap, so I was down, like I had 1 clay hanging, and I had to reload or I would have got a failure to engage. And my reload went through, and the RO who was following us said that was, quote, spicy. And I know that Joe went through and we looked at it and said, yeah, that it took more time he goes, it was faster for you to reload than it was to do anything else. So guys, practicing reloads helps.
Yeah. So
it helps almost as much as looking cool. And if you need to look cool and have your stuff look cool, then you need to have awesome stickers. And if you're in need of awesome stickers, like the most desirable sticker at Zombies in the Heartland, you need to check out Sticker Phantom. And you can get all kinds of base stickers like our Based Bluey and our Steamboat Willie and so much more. They produce all of our stickers, and you can get yours for 10% off with code ARPodcast.
The amount of people we had asking us for stickers at the awards was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They love that Bluey sticker. Yeah, so this stage 3, you start
on a hanging table.
Ground, step up onto the swinging table, platform.
So the swinging table is like just picture like a normal deck, like a stick-built deck you'd have on the side of a house, but it's hanging from 4 posts by steel chains, so it can kind of wobble with you and get moving, which some people have an issue with.
Yeah, especially those big guys. So you take 6 steel, and you got 1 far target, and then off to the right, you're going to have 6 more steel, and then you're going to move up, and there's a swinger back here, and then you're going to enter a painted up hippie zombie bus that's gutted. This is a good run for me. Take the long one. Put 2 just to be safe. Or it had the clay in it. I forgot about that. And then
this was really just a beautiful run on running the clays as we went through everything.
Step over.
Not the clays, the knockover steels, which these knockover steels are some of my favorite. Then there was an activator that we had to pull that put a swinger up. And we finally got to see the bus that Aaron from We Like Shooting keeps talking about buying. And exactly what it would be if he had the bus. And as we go through, there's an array of targets on the outside.
Weirdest bang bus ever.
Yeah, then we go into the bang bus. And while this bus was great for almost everyone, excuse me, if you were north of 6 foot tall, it was a giant pain in the ass because you had to be hunched over inside of it the whole time.
Yeah, that's where I get lucky being a little short guy. That was a good run. That was one of my best runs of the day.
There was only 3 of us in our squad who had a problem with that.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Well, it wasn't that bad because if you're in a proper combat crouch, it didn't happen. And I'm just going to call it a combat crouch because it totally wasn't me being like, shit, I'm going to hit my head and doing a tactical turtle.
Then we move up to 4.
Which was our last stage.
And this stage was interesting. We need your video for this one because you start off to the right. You've got an array of targets with this here is actually a trident with 3 clays on it you're about to see. And then off to the left, you have a swinger that you have to rotate, make a mag change, rotate again, and then you can take off for the rest of it. So take a paper and then boom, 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 boom. And now we start shooting at moving clays. There we go. And now you're going to watch one of my other mess ups on the weekend. I'm about to fumble a reload. And I didn't download and dropped a mag. So dumb. Because I could have had that thing still swinging and saved myself probably 10 seconds. And it's over. But yeah, the one I had to come back and get. And the clays. Or the steel.
So, in short, one of the things that we're saying is like, these stages were awesome. I'm trying to see if I can get mine sent across in the email to show what that stage looked like as we shot it.
Yeah, that one was fun.
Because you need a 70-round stick mag.
Hey, I watched so many people running out of mags. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have that problem. Because I had, so yeah, when I talk about gear, most stages I could have ran that big stick and not had to worry about even wearing a belt. But I had 230s on my belt. The first 2 stages, I think I shot with 30-round mags. And then I went, anything that had the opportunity where you're going to sit and make up shots, not player acts, but the spinners and the Texas Stars, where you could end up going to war. We had a guy on 9. He shot that star 6 times and then turned around. Like, he hit it, but they would not fall. And yeah. Where we going? There you
go. Anyway, here we go. We'll have this pop up here. And I guess I clicked through everything. So this is where Joe was saying we needed me to show it so we could demonstrate my giant failure on this.
Demonstrate how to effectively spin the spinner. And go. Oh, is this all in slow-mo? It is.
Yep, that's where I screwed up on as we go through. Now, when we get into shooting the spinner, I did my long shots there. And then it was okay. Yep, we're doing the spinner and hitting top then bottom. And I decided this was taking too long.
And up. And it didn't go. And just like there's no sound. And you shot that thing like 10 times.
Well, now we go through. I had to reload. And now you're gonna hear pop, 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 pop. And you see a bunch of clouds because I dumped like 8 rounds at that spinner in about 2 seconds.
That was
because
great.
I had decided that it was time for it to go over.
That was a good one.
And everyone at the stage just started giggling when they heard me start shooting.
But it was the way to do it. That was the best way to finish that. Like, you could wait, and it's going to take a couple of seconds, if not 5, for it to swing all the way back, come back to where you can hit it again and send it. Instead, you just drove it through, it was great.
That was the appropriate way to shoot a spinner with a PCC.
Yeah. So the guy shooting that with 3-gun had to spin it with their shotgun, dump their shotgun, and then spin it with their pistol. I don't know. I think we had one guy in the squad do that. We had one guy, if he would have been paying attention, he spun it and he hit it just right with that last shotgun round. It spun around 3 times. If he could have just
like if he would have just dumped his shotgun and sent one round.
and sent one, it would have been enough. But he didn't even shoot at it, so he took his penalties.
Yep.
But
So Dusky
like,
asked, what do you use to hold your 30-round pistol mags? Taller pouches? So personally, I use G-code pouches that held mine just fine. But use a different one.
Yep, I run Coda Evolution. They have a 5-inch and a 3-inch, and they're sitting horizontal on my belt, so they don't sit straight up. I have them on my belt. I have one in front and one on the side. Because when you have 30-round magazines that are sticking straight up, you can't lean forward and you can't lean to that side very well, or they'll dig in. So I actually have mine canted, and they run. Yeah, the Coda Evolution ones work great for it.
Yeah, and if I was going to shoot PCC routinely, I would set up another belt, kind of the way Joe does, where you clip it behind your back instead of clipping it in front, and putting everything to the side so that it doesn't dig in to that gun upper tactical area.
Clipping behind allows me to have that, because I'm just running Tech-Lock fasteners, but it allows you to have them
like
I have
Kilo, right Ocean, David, Alpha.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Or it might be CO. It might be Charlie Coda. Charlie. But
Coda, it is with a C. So Coda is Charlie, Ocean, Delta, Alpha.
It's Charlie.
Sorry, I
can't even get the font again. Jesus.
I've been spending too much time with cops lately, so I keep mixing up the phonetic alphabet between the two. That's my bad.
Yeah, no, they were good. Cotton, the guy that ran with us, he's like, "What are you running?" Because if you've got the Kydex, a regular Kydex pistol holster, double stack pistol holster, I wouldn't trust with a 30. I know a lot of guys say running that 5-inch Coda, you can run the extended. They'll run that extended mag up front that I have and have no qualms about it.
Yeah, and I was running G-code tall Scorpion pouches, which have the bungee on them, so they let it
and
stretch.
You can adjust that bungee to the, what do I want to say,
well, it helps because with being a little fluffy, it let me move and kept pressure on them. Maybe just it might have been pressure against me, but it still kept everything solid and in, because I ran everything with so one thing I am going to talk about that I waited an hour and 2 minutes to get into. I shot this a little bit different than how like you and Garth and even Cotton did. You guys used pure Glock mags, except for your 30-round mag extension. All of you guys use genuine, like real deal, proper Glock mags. And I had approximately 0 of those. I shot almost exclusively, except for a couple of my spicy reloads. I was shooting the KCI mags, the KCI 33-round Glock mags, and they ran flawlessly. There was one stage because I went, oh, I'm going to need this. And honestly, it slowed me down, not because it wasn't functioning, but because of how it felt. And that was, I have a 40-round ETS clear mag, and I just needed the capacity, so I ran that 40-round mag, and it had more drag on the bolt, so the recoil impulse was different. It felt like it was hitting the last round about every third round, and it was not a pleasant experience. So I ran all off-brand mags, not Glock mags. And the KCI mags, I have been thoroughly impressed with. This is not an ad by any means. They're not a sponsor. Their Glock mags are legit and have been running good. And their AR mags have been holding up astoundingly well. And I know Joe's been around me. That's what I've been running a lot of.
Mhm.
And I really think these might be a good alternative. I'm not going to say for like a trust your life on it mag, but a competition and training mag. Pick up the KCIs. They're inexpensive and awesome.
And
Desert
that comes
Circuit says their MP5 megs are awesome as also.
know your weapon, know your gun. When I shot the sectional a couple weeks back, the two other guys running PCCs with me. One's running an arrow build just like Dooley, and his wouldn't run at all. The other guy, I was talking to him, and he only runs knockoff mags because his will eat up mags. Doesn't matter what mag he puts in it, it'll eat them up. And he's like, I'm not spending $30 on Glock mags that are gonna go to crap just as fast as the $8 ones that, he knows it's gonna happen. So why spend the extra money? He said it doesn't, the lifeline on them isn't any longer. So
Yeah, and I
if you can get
know
three mags, if you can get 3 mags for the price of one, and they're gonna last, but same amount of time, run it.
there is a new company doing a $6 Glock 30 round mag. And I can't remember who it is that's doing this, but it is a new, like, I think this is what it is. It might be Rattlesnake Tactical. Yeah, Rattlesnake Tactical. They have a kind of a textured feature to them, but they are $6 a piece for a 34 round Glock mag.
Yeah.
And that might be something worth checking out. Like, I might have to get
seeing
one.
some of them on live PD pretty soon.
The Stendos. Yes, Dusky, they would fit in your Daggerino. And here, I'll pull that up on screen for anyone looking. But as we go through, like, we just talked a lot about this match, and we kind of gave our experiences with it. But
go shoot matches. I don't care if they're your locals, if they're majors, mid-majors, whatever. They're fun. Find a group of guys. Go have fun. Don't worry about where you place, how you do.
Yeah, these are a solid polymer. They're kind of a textured with a snakeskin style texture. 34 round magazine. And yeah, $5.99.
Where's that at?
Ammunition Depot.
Ammunition Depot. Huh. I might have to get some of those the other round.
Yeah, like that. I'll spend $6 to test a mag out.
Yeah. No, like we were saying, yeah, we just went through this match. We had fun. It's great. You meet great people at matches. I mean, Gar's really good buddies with some of the top shooters in PCC that were there from down in Texas. One of Nick's old shooting guard buddies, he shot for 30 seconds and then spectated all weekend. But yeah, they're fun. And again, if it's your local match, anything, go find something to shoot. Even if you don't have anybody, I bet you'll find friends by the end of it. We had all kinds of people talking to us about not just the podcast, but just like, hey, again, like I said, we had a whole squad of amateurs. And when I say amateurs, I think some of these guys got checked out of the nursing home to go shoot.
Well, one.
But,
and he was a good guy.
Yeah, no, they were great guys. But by the end of it, they were starting to ask us questions. It's like,
at one point, I walked up and started offering unsolicited advice on how to shoot an AR because I couldn't help myself.
No way. So yeah, it's fun. If you don't have shooting buddies, find your local shooting group that has matches, and you'll have shooting buddies within the first couple of matches you go to. Guaranteed.
Yeah, and it's like when we said this, like 100%. I'm that guy. I did it. I was like, "Hey, bud, how we doing?" And it was a guy who was shooting his AR, and he had both of his arms out, like in 1995 squat, full chicken wing, and elbows out, And I was like, hey, so you're a shotgun shooter, huh? And he goes, yeah. I was like, shot a lot of trap back in the day? Yeah. Okay, I can tell. Let me tell you how to shoot an AR. It was just one of those like, oh,
Or come to our dually defense carbine class next weekend.
yes. If you want to travel to Pierce, South Dakota, we are doing a carbine class on
We even have
June.
we have the Marnie shuttle. She will pick you up at the airport.
But I am not going to endorse that. But I would like our listeners to arrive. But um, so that is June 14th. We're teaching that class, which will be next weekend. Now, also keep in mind, we're teaching a carbine class on June 14th, which is the Army's 250th birthday.
Yeah, we're gonna miss the parade.
There will be bourbon.
Bourbon, cigars, guns.
Yeah, all of the above. Probably a large chunk of cow as well.
We might have to get some cake for the birthday.
Yep. But no, guys, go out and do this stuff. When we stepped in, like last year, we went and shot this. This was a match that I have been dreaming of shooting for years. This was the second time I shot it. I'm also going to say one other thing and take the opportunity to talk about a product that we have had on the show, and I truly believe it helped me shoot faster. I know Garth does as well, and that is the Riker grip. It was the Riker fist grip from Riker USA, and with having a shoulder injury or anything like that, where it comes out, it has your hand positioned more upright on the side of the rifle. It definitely allowed. I do think it did allow me for faster transitions.
I know the guys you let play with your rifle. They liked it. So
Yeah, there's a handful of like pro shooters that came up. What the hell is that thing? And then they'd go, oh. And we should have done a promo code sooner.
Yeah, we should have promo codes for everything we're running because we have a lot of questions and a lot of hey, where did you get those? What is that?
What
and
rock
we're
did
probably
you guys
easier
fall
to
out of?
approach than the pros because if you've watched his show, you know how we act. Not a whole lot different when we were on the firing line.
Yeah, it was funny, and this is one of those like it's not really a personal thing, but we were on the firing line talking and doing what we normally do, like dick and fart jokes and making fun of each other and like yelling at each other for being slow, and then turning around and giving the new guys like absolute positive affirmation of like, man, you did awesome, great run. And there was I got told by a father and son that were there, like, yeah, you guys are kind of intimidating to shoot with. They didn't know us from the podcast or anything like that. They just watched us run. And that was eye-opening to me because I've never thought of myself as intimidating to shoot with. But they're like, yeah, we're shooting with you guys, and you guys are all really, really good. And I went, oh, we're not that good.
Not according to the scores at the end of it.
What, we're not that good?
I'm just saying, like, it's crazy because even like I had runs, I was like, hell yeah, that was an awesome run. The ROs and the guy, the scorer and the timer are like, wow, that was, a nice run. And you're like, cool. And you go check the scores on once they all come out and you're like 18th place. Like, what do I got to do? And you're looking at, they're like 15 seconds faster than you. And you're like, where are they making that up? Like, what are they doing? But like I said, I think I 10 with the barricade. That's on me all day long. My foot penalties, again, on me all day long. I wish I could have shot 4 and 5 again after I had got warmed up, especially after the screw up with my foot faults and where I was like, I'm just going to see how fast I can do this. I'm
You know,
going to burn this down.
that might be a thing where we could say, we should just shoot in the afternoon flight the first day and go hit one of the other local ranges and shoot like a 50-round warm-up.
Do something. I don't know. And maybe it was because it was a little wet, and especially on that platform and the teeter-totter, you were a little worried about your footing, but
well, and I'll be honest, like when I shot it, the run that I did my best on. Yeah, here you go. Dusky says that he got 6 of those mags shipped, or 6 of those mags for $50.85 shipped.
Shipping. So less than $10, $8. $8-9, $8.50 with shipping, counting the shipping. It's not bad.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid deal.
Let us know how they run. Beat them up, do something. Let us know how they run.
Well, he'll have him in his Dagarino and be shooting with the Stendo down at the swamps. So, the run that I, like Joe was saying, that I probably did the best on score-wise, like not that I felt I did the best on. My one I did the fastest, like by my standards, was not the one that ended up being where I placed the highest. And I was utterly amazed. Well, I guess I had another top 10 because the stage 8, the one we had that I got to do a reshoot on, I shot stage 10, or I came in 10th.
10th, weren't you?
And then I came in 7th in stage 10. So I had 2 top 10 finishes. And I felt really good about one of those. The other one, I thought, while I was shooting it, I thought I was like I had an anchor tied to me. But I was getting my hits. And I think that was more important because I took the half second to get on target and I knew my hold. And that's what saved me.
Yep. No, I meant to do it before we left. We put 300, I put 300 rounds in on Monday before we left. And the one thing I didn't do was move over to the rifle range and get dope at 100 meters.
Yeah. And I know that when we were working, just a foreshadowing for anyone who's thinking about coming to the carbine class, we were talking about trigger freeze, and depending upon what you're doing, you need to get some of the accuracy thought and things where it's like, oh, hey, this is hunting rifle. This is how I need to shoot, and kind of throw that out the window and just look at mechanical and functional accuracy.
Yep. Because that was what we were talking about it, and you demonstrated it to me. You're like, here's your cadence. And to hear it, because I thought I was shooting fast. I'm like, what do I got to do? And you're like, here's the cadence you're shooting at. Here's where you need to be. Then we did a couple of those mag dumps just to get used to and I found out that tip of finger, I can't run it nearly as fast if I just bury my finger in the trigger well and just start squeezing. So, I mean, it was a productive range day. And I said it in the group chat last night. I am itching to shoot something else. I'm glad we have one of our matches this weekend, but I've got a major in July out in Wyoming. I'm probably going to the one in Minnesota in August, but yeah, the more of these majors I'm shooting, the more and more I want to go back and do it again and again and again and again. And I'm going to have to sell a kid. I can't sell my kidney because I only have one. I'm going to have to start selling stuff. Anybody want to buy a dog? She's a sweetheart.
Well, I mean, your kids are grown now, but
I tried selling them. I can't say that on I can't say that on the podcast.
Totally did not.
I get in trouble. I get in trouble if I say that. Make that joke. I know I will.
No,
but it's dark. But, yeah,
Dusky's right. $20 is $20. So, but no, guys, thanks a lot for coming along on this ride with us as we went through and recapped some of our experiences from this match we had. I know that it was a ton of fun. I love watching it and seeing people grow, and it was cool to see and shoot with a squad of a bunch of newcomers even though apparently we were intimidating, it was a ton of fun.
We were helpful.
And
I mean, you fixed a PCC on the safe table. We did our best.
yeah, that's true. I fixed my second, or well, it's the second one of these I fixed, but the first one I fixed during a competition, and he kept shooting it for another.
Did he finish with it?
Yeah, he finished with it, and yeah, so he shot that for 5 more stages after I cobbled on it.
Yeah, because it went down to 9, so he shot. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it was a 2.
we had a PCC shooter who had his rifle go down in the middle of what would have been our fifth stage, and it had a complete come apart. It's like, oh, what do I do? And like to the point the rifle wouldn't come apart. Like pieces and springs and parts were kind of dicked up everywhere. And I went, well, let me see it. And the guy didn't know me from Adam, really. He just kind of knew I was there. And I was like, oh, I've seen this before. And I took it apart, explained what happened, put the pieces kind of back together. I was like, all right, we're going to take this out because you don't really need it for what you're doing. And it should run, but I'm not going to give it a guarantee. And he kept running it and was like, yeah, man, thanks for fixing my gun. And he left saying he was going to purchase a different rifle. But
That's what you'll get. That's what you get at those matches. Yeah, the guys that are there to win it are going to be a little standoffish because this is how they're making a living. But you'll run into guys, I'll toot our horns, like us, that are more than willing to help people, more than willing to. Like I was we'd walk the stages together. We had the other 2 PCC guys. We had no problem with saying, hey, what do you think about this or that? Because at the end of the day, we're competing against each other. We're not competing to win at this point. And it's, guys, the people out there, the community is a lot. The community is great. It is.
And it was also great because it's, again, we're a bunch of buddies that get to hang out and do this stuff. And, this is kind of our shooting group. That's also a podcasting group, and you guys get to come along with us for the ride. But it was super neat to be outside of our stage 9 blue. it did. That was the big dumb. But it was a lot of fun to see just how evenly matched we really are. And that shows I know that I'm going to speak for Garth here as well. Joe and I and Garth, we drive each other, and it's, we're not overly competitive, but we are competitive with each other. And it's more of a, well, I know I can do better, and we push each other back and forth a lot. Anything else to add, Joe?
Not from the weekend, not from the shoot. No. Who do we have coming up? Do we have somebody next weekend? We got
next week. I'll have to look at the calendar. I don't think we had anybody. We have Break Arms coming up soon, and I know that we were running some of their equipment. We're going to talk about some stuff they have.
We got 2 of their charging handles. I was running one all weekend. Thank goodness, because that start empty. It's nice. It was nice to have that big charging handle that you just rack on it. So, and the one they gave us, that should be interesting. Stick around for it. It's supposed to be a
PCC Farmer is Garth joining us in the chat. So he got done with his meeting. Thank you so much for checking in. And it's I'm glad Joe screwed the pooch, otherwise he would have beat me too. Garth, we barely talked about scores.
We won't get into that. If I wouldn't have screwed if my mental mistakes don't happen, I'm like 13th overall in PCC. Like I didn't want to. I'm not going to dwell on it. That's the one time I'm going to bring it up. Like I did the math. I was that close to the top 10. I know what I need to do, and I'll get better. shooting all summer. So
yeah, and I just need to actually take PCC seriously.
Yeah, it's fun.
But with that, we have one last sponsor we need to talk about. Everyone knows who it is I'm about to talk about, and that's Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. Now, this patch I have in my hand right here, this is the March Patch of the Month Club. And Joe is still trying to figure out how they got his likeness for a patch. And, we have that Patriot Patch. They have Patch of the Month Club. Guys, get signed up for it. You get cool stuff every month. This month is a belt-fed firecracker gun, and I love it.
I don't know where
to light them up. But, we have that. They have tin signs. They have patches. They have stickers. They have everything you need.
Mouse pad. Well,
mouse pads. Jake and the guys over there are awesome. Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co. And Jake has rifle patch panels. Yes, he does. Now, I have some of those, and I have some other things, too, that I haven't been told I can disclose yet. But I will show them as soon as we can. Now, Desert Cerakote does say that he runs Breek handguards and Warhammer charging handles. Good stuff. They do have a new updated version of this.
Warhammer. That's the one that we just got. It's supposed to be a suppressor.
Yeah, the sledgehammer.
Yeah, it's supposed to keep that gas out of your face. So we'll probably get out and run that this weekend and see how it does.
I'm going to run mine this weekend, and I know that I'll be running it during our carbine course, where I will be running a suppressed gun.
I might do that. I might bring it just in case. But yeah, I want to see how it works with that suppressor.
So, all right. Now with that, Joe, you got anything else to add?
Check out our social media. We don't have anybody else to plug tonight, but anybody in the 2A community, the companies that support us, the companies we talk about, just go check them out and see if you like them. Even the ones that don't sponsor us, that we're running their stuff. If we're running it and they aren't giving us any money, there's a reason for it, because it's a good quality. It's a good product. Check out social medias, hit your senators up, make sure that they, I don't know what's going to happen with that big, beautiful bill anymore, but make sure let's at least get the HPA and the short axe. Write your congressman, let them know that you're in favor of that stuff. Be loud, be louder than the other side, but be good about it.
Yes, be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet. I was told that once by a mentor when I was younger. But being polite and being professional is the big part and takeaway there. And guys, you know exactly what I'm about to say here. Again, reach out to your elected officials. Let everyone know exactly where you stand on the 2A and that it is a non-negotiable right. Do not let the Second Amendment become a second-class right. Now, with that, we live in interesting times. And everyone out there, go get medical training. Go get training. Remember, you are your own first responder. Expect to self-rescue. And you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed.
Thanks for listening to the AR-15 podcast. Check us out on all our social media. AR-15 podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. AR-15 podcast 2.0 on Instagram. If you want to send us a question, rant, or suggestion, email us at AR15podcast2.0@gmail.com. That's the number 2, period, the number 0. If you want to be part of the daily conversation, you can find us at Discord, AR15 Podcast. Don't forget to check out dangfree.net. Sign up is simple and free, and you can communicate with us, other podcasters, and you, the listeners. Lastly, check out all our sponsors: Patriot Patch Company, VZ Grips, Slacker Tactical, and Sticker Family.